Welcome back. Today I have a guest, Rob Rene, who is a faith and health warrior. This
Mhm.
is something new to the culture for me and the experience of it. But I did do a little digging and found out a little bit about his backstory and some of the things that he's doing and he's accomplishing and he's driven with his goals in life and his passion. And we'll talk about all of that. We'll talk about all of that. But first and foremost, Rob Rene, I have to because you're the first runner that I've ever had on the show. And
I love it.
there is something about runners that are just built in a different kind of way where you're learning to argue and win with yourself.
Yeah.
That is a different kind of quality. And I want to talk about that a little bit, and we can get into a little bit more of the developmental part where we're talking about, the life-changing incident. I don't want to give any spoilers, but the life-changing situation. We can talk about that. So runner wise, what is it that what were you doing? What was your running passion? I was the 800 guy. I did cross country, but the 800 was my thing. So
I
what
love
about
it.
you?
Yeah, I was a miler. So I was very similar to you in the respect that I also did cross country and stuff, but I did those efforts to be a better miler. And yeah, that was my goal in life was to be a professional runner. So I loved everything track and field.
So this is your what's your PR? You got to give me your PR. So
Yeah,
because
so I'll do a little spoiler. Right before my accident, I ran a 405 mile, and so I almost broke the barrier, and I'm pretty confident I would have broken the barrier had I had the opportunity to, but my running career got interrupted, unfortunately.
that is amazing. For me, 445 was the peak, but I challenged an Olympic runner in high school without knowing he was an Olympic runner, and that's the only reason I did. So that I lost that one, needless to say. But yeah, that's amazing. That's for those of you that that don't know that, that is absolutely amazing, and God bless you on that. Let's talk a little bit about that moment, that life-changing moment. What actually happened there?
Yeah, sounds good. So I literally had just made the U.S. junior team that track season before that winter, and so I was the second best miler in the country. I got second at nationals and made the junior team, which is everybody 19 years and younger. So I was the second best miler 19 years and younger in the United States. And then I made an international tour and I went on the international tour and I beat the boy who beat me and then beat the best runners from five different other countries. So I was doing really, really well. I mean, everything was going perfectly from a perspective of trajectory of where I was headed. My coaches thought I'd be a 348 miler. That's what they
Oh
were
wow.
projecting me to be based upon my progression. So it was my goal in life was to be a literally professional runner. That was the goal. Then that winter after that track season, I was out on a 10-mile training run with my good friend. And on that training run, about 5 miles into that run, my buddy yelled my name, and we were running single file. He was behind me, and it was a cold winter's day, snowing like crazy, and icy and slick outside. And my buddy and I were out doing our 10 mile. Right, had to get our miles in for the week, and he jumped into the ditch and yelled my name, and I had enough time to turn around, and I just saw this 4x4 truck just sliding right towards me, and I had nowhere to go and didn't have time to do anything other than say, I'm gonna get hit, I'm gonna get hit. And it hit me in the side of my hip and threw me at 36 feet. So it literally is, and if you think about that, it's a really, really long
That's
way
yeah, yeah,
to throw the human body.
right.
And I landed straight on my face and then my knees. So it was a very impactful event. I mean, I was laying unconscious on the side of the road, freezing and bloodied like crazy because my face had been split open. And yeah, I was just really, really blessed to be alive.
Yeah.
I should not have survived that actual event. It's a miracle that I survived. I had a bloody nose earlier in the run, and when I was laying there unconscious, my bloody nose clogged my throat. So I was in a really bad situation. I'm laying, I'm unconscious on the side of the road with a clogged throat, so not getting oxygen. So if it wasn't for my friend realizing how desperate of a situation I was in and actually unclogging my throat with his finger, I literally wouldn't be here
Oh,
today.
wow.
So it was a miracle that I survived that day, and so ever since then I kind of knew God had a plan for my life. I didn't know what it was, and it's taken me a really long time to I think figure it out. But I really honestly believe these last 5 years of my life I understand what He did to me and how He trained me throughout my entire life to be the person that I am to be today, and the mission that I have. So it's been a wild ride for sure.
I'm totally sure. And the thing with like being a runner, and you can run, you can work, you can exercise, you can do all the things and weight lift. But being a runner is something that changes your entire mindset of like how you deal with things, your drive to continuously to hit roadblocks and move forward, or be able to push the limits of everything that you can possibly do. Being, in the weightlifting situation, you see growth, you see progress, you see change, you get to measure those changes, and a runner doesn't. A runner,
Right.
kind of goes against the elements of the unknown all the time. And we're up against the unbeatable opponent, the clock,
That's
and we
right. That's
still
right.
do it. So it's
So
something
good.
that's just a little bit different, and that runner's mentality translates over. And again, I was doing a little digging and a little bit of a research, and you made that transition from there to the corporate world, and you were able to conquer that. Again, that's something that's most people taking one steps from the athletic department to into the corporate field, and you probably had the same level of drive that happened in between that just elevated you into that situation. How long did it take you to make that click, or make that something that happened? How long did that take?
It took I'll be 100% honest with you. That first 6 months to a year was really hard after that because it was like my whole body had changed. My whole life, had been just swept away from me. But, I did have a brother who was a mentor of mine. He's 4 years older than I was, who kind of just helped me all along the way and, helped me understand to do well in school. So not only was I a good athlete, I actually did well in school. So when I did have that problem, I had something to fall back on. So I fell back on my schooling and I started working, right? And then and you're right, man, that mentality of being a runner has never gone away. I'm the most competitive person ever. I hate to lose at anything, and a lot of that came because of my running. So when I translated that into the corporate world, and that hey, I'm going to be very good at my craft. I'm going to do really good at my job, and I'm going to be great at that. And I did do that really well, but unfortunately I had blinders on, right? When I was in the corporate world, I was so focused on doing things for me that at the I just wasn't I wasn't feeding my soul that I now have found. And man, I'm really excited about after what I call the second truck, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But the second truck that hit me had a really similar impact that the first one did. And so, but it took me a while. So to finally answer your question, sorry to take so
No,
long.
no problem.
It took me a while to get to there. But once I did get past that, just devastation of losing my identity. I went and did well within the corporate world, right? I found my next identity, and I did super well at that.
it's it's always like in the mindset. Again, I've never been in that position, but some of my best guy friends, that were runners, and we are driven competitively to this day, and we still train. I still train against a person that I lost to 30 years ago, and I don't even know if they're here anymore. But it's just something that's innate in us to make that situation. So talk about that second truck you were saying.
Yeah, so the second truck would just it literally had the same impact that the first one did for me, right? The first one I'm on, cloud nine. Everything's going perfectly, and then boom, in an instant my life changes. And this was very similar with respect that my corporate career was going great, right? I was making money, everything was good. All of a sudden, boom, the pandemic hit. And the pandemic had the similar impact where I ended up losing my sales job because I couldn't travel, right? So because of the pandemic, and so it's the first time in my life I'd been able to look at what's going on in the world, and I took my blinders off, right? I had these blinders on because I was very good at what I was doing. I was really good at my job, and I knew my craft really well, but I didn't look at what was going on in the world. And when the pandemic hit, I did like what everybody did. I'm like, this is pretty scary. How do I take care of myself? How do I take care of my family, right? I want to make sure that they don't get sick and that they're healthy. And man, I started just doing research, a skill set that now I'm so excited that I have that I never really did have. When I did research for my job, right? Or I did research on how to be the best runner. And I did research on, a specific thing. And I was really good at that particular thing, but I had blinders on, right? And now I looked at the world when the pandemic hit. And I was like, holy smokes, what's going on? How do I keep my family safe? And I'll never forget this one doctor. I was doing research about some holistic products because when I was a runner way back in the day, nutrition was very, very key to being a distance runner, right? You know that really well, right? And I read a book called Eat to Win, and that really helped me as a youth just be so much better than my competition because I knew how to fuel my body. And at the end of the race, I always had a good kick. They're like, how in the heck does he always have extra energy, right? And it was me. I knew it was because I knew how to fuel my body, right? And I think God gave me a special gift, which was nice for sure. But I think the nutrition was very important. So anyway, I say that because when the pandemic hit, I knew how important nutrition was to health. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna start eating well. I'm gonna start looking into the right nutrients. And then I saw this one doctor that was talking about vitamin D, and I'm like, okay, vitamin D is like from the sun, it's totally natural, but he was getting sued for billions of dollars. And I'm just like, wow, this vitamin D maybe is really bad. Let me go research vitamin D. So I did a bunch of research on vitamin D and I did a bunch of research on the doctor, and I couldn't find anything wrong with vitamin D. It's just 100% natural, right? It's from the sun. And if without the sun, we don't have oxygen. So it's like it's nothing wrong with vitamin D. And then so I'm like, man, this doctor must be really bad. So I did a bunch of research on the doctor, and the doctor was totally fine as well. He's a holistic practitioner recommending natural solutions, and he was helping people. So I'm like, what is the motivation? Why are they suing him for billions of dollars? And then I just started doing research on the motivation. And that's when the rabbit hole that I went down that I'll never be able to unsee. Once I looked at our healthcare system, I looked how our healthcare system was taken over really in the early 1900s. The Rockefellers hired a gentleman called his last name was Flexner. He created this report called the Flexner Report, and they used that Flexner Report for really nefarious purposes. They took over our medical schools back in the early 1900s, and they only taught pharmaceutical-based medications and solutions, and they vilified. And this was the bad part, not the bad part, but one of the bad parts. They vilified all the all natural holistic practitioners. And you couldn't get a job back then if you didn't go through their medical schools. And they wouldn't talk about natural health. And they vilified people who did. And you go back and you can literally see this all happening. And then you see the corruption from then to now and what's happened in our healthcare world. And it's just frightening how we've set up a system that's more about making money than it is about healing people. And
Right.
so that became super frustrating to me. I was like, wow, this is really evil. And as part of that research and process, I started also researching the Bible. It was like I'd been a Christian my entire life, but I was the kind of Christian who I'd go to church on Sunday and I wouldn't think about church or anything related to my faith until the next Sunday. And then I would do it again, week after week, and I've never really practiced it. But then during the pandemic, I got so disillusioned with what was going on with the world. I was like, okay, wait, is this Bible thing real? and I did a lot of research. So I did a lot of apologetics research on is the actual text accurate, and the text is amazingly accurate. I did, research on the prophetic proof within the Bible, and it's amazing how much prophecy is come through and true in the Bible. And then you do the archaeology research, and it's like, oh my gosh, you combine all three of those. It's like the apologetics are absolutely incredible. That document is the most verified document ever in existence, and it's literally prophetically created. So it's really that was really eye-opening to me. It's something I didn't understand. I said, okay, if this is that accurate of a document, maybe I should read it. so,
Right.
so I've read it a number of times. I've listened to it a number of times. Now I study it every day. But during that process, I really developed a personal relationship with God, and that just transformed my entire life from a religion to a relationship, and that now has shaped everything that I do as a person. Is my faith is my foundation, and everything else I'm doing. And man, it's been a blast ever since. So anyway, that was a really long introduction to that second truck.
No, no.
Right, the second truck was the pandemic, and that's what got me so interested in health and all natural health, and also got me really interested in faith. And that's why I call myself a faith and health warrior, is I really believe that God trained me to help people with their health, and he's taught me a ton about health. And then he's like, you know what? I also want you to help people with their faith. And so that's what I do. If I can help you with your health, man, I'm all for it. I don't care what color, race, creed, who you are, what color you are, what nationality you are. I want to help you with your health. If I can help you with your health, fantastic, right? And then, geez, if you're interested in a conversation about faith, I'd love to entertain that with you as well. So that's my goal in life.
I will say that you hold an advantage over me because um, you were talking about, feeding yourself, feeding your body so that you have the resources to continue to do. I ran angry. That was my secret. I ran angry all the time. And eventually I would have enough anger to sustain me for a 5K or,
Right, right.
that was my trick. As far as the eating and the supplements, I didn't learn that until like maybe my senior year, a little bit, later on, eating proteins and stuff. But it was,
Yeah,
for me, it was just, I ran angry. I ran like everything was downhill. I ran like everything was like right in front of me. Even if I couldn't see the person, I ran that way. That was just what it was for me.
that's
Um,
awesome. You're
so,
you're strong mentally for sure.
it's a borderline stubborn, borderline stubborn. Absolutely, it's one of those things that I'm going to continue to do the things that I'm going to do, and to be completely honest with you, not to take the spotlight away from you, just sharing this, I accidentally, of course, it was an accident. I broke my leg sometime last year,
Oh no.
and required 4 bolts to be put in my leg.
Wow.
6 weeks later, I was back on the treadmill because I was like, "You're not going to tell me what to do." That's just what I
Good
was
for
going.
you. Good for
I just
you.
ran angry. But so with all of that being said, because that was a monumental journey, that was like more than a pivot. That was more than an evolution. It was more than a change. It was more than it was a calling. That was like a
It was.
different calling,
Yeah.
and you had to find the phone, let
Yes.
alone it
Yeah.
just ringing off the hook. So, what keeps you motivated now? What's the thing that keeps you driving and going further? What's that? What does
Yeah,
that
that's
look
an
like?
awesome question. In fact, one of the issues I've had in the last year was my very serious health issue. That one of those ones that bring you to your knees. It's like, oh my gosh, I could no longer be here. And that it's amazing that I am alive. It's amazing that I am here. And that brought me to my knees. And ever since then, it's like I literally have no desire other than to, when I die, for him to say, "Well done, good and faithful servant." That is the only thing that motivates me, because everything else doesn't matter. I used to think money mattered, right? I used to think success mattered. I used to think all these material things mattered, and none of that matters, right? None of that matters. And so, wow, when you get that perspective in life where you almost lose everything and all of a sudden you don't, and it's like, oh my gosh, God, he still has me here on this earth for a reason, right? We already talked about the first two trucks that happened in my life. I basically had a third, right? And I just I lived and survived a crazy incident just in the last few months that I know that God has me here for a purpose, right? I am still on this earth. I shouldn't be here on this earth, but I am. So he's like, you have a job to do, young man. You're not done. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, I do have a job to do. So I'm going to go do it. And just like that stubbornness in me, I was like, okay, everything that I thought was important isn't. And I understand now that these are my priorities, and I love my wife, I love my family, but my relationship with him is the most important thing. And it's like, how can I help people? It's like, how can I? You've trained me on so many amazing things, Lord. It was like, oh my gosh, I saw how you trained me on nutrition when I was young, and so I literally developing, I'm writing a book called The Light Code, and the Light Code talks about four specific things that God has trained me on. He's trained me on light therapy and how with light you have both red light therapy and near infrared therapy that goes into the body, into the skin, and helps your mitochondrial process work better, right? That's an amazing technology he's trained me on. And then the second one is frequency therapy. I think you can utilize frequencies to help the human body. Stuff I thought was crazy that now I really understand, and I understand in detail. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's an incredible thing that you can do to help people is just with frequencies. It's frequencies that God created. So let's use that. And then he taught me about stuff inside your bloodstream. It's a molecular hydrogen. You get molecular hydrogen inside the bloodstream. It acts as an master antioxidant, gets rid of the bad stuff and helps your mitochondrial process work more effectively. So I can help you from all the way from your surface of your skin into your muscles, into your bone structures, and then even into your bloodstream. And then I can help with these healthy frequencies. Those are the three major pillars that I help you with. And then my fourth one is the mind, body, spirit connection. Without having faith and without understanding that your mind is super powerful, God gave you this incredibly complex body, this temple we have. We only have one of them, so you need to take care of it. And it's very complex. But if you give it the right setup, the right nutrients, your body will heal itself. And your mind is very powerful. It can control your body. So if you work on all four of those pillars, that's something I call the light code that God has trained me on. Is like He wants me to take this to the world to help people. And so, man, I'm just super passionate about that, and I wanna help people with these four major modalities of things that He's helped me with. And he's instituted those into my life. He's like, here, take these out and help the world with that. So that's what I'm
So
called to
that
do.
seems very comprehensive, like everything as a total. How do you manage to do all of those things? Or, in a situation, is there like a course? Is there, a setup? Is there like one-on-one? How do people get in touch with you to even start that process from, step zero to, to getting to that point? How do people do
It's
that?
an awesome question, and it's literally something I'm developing right now because it's like it's not done, but my Light Code the book is not complete. It's almost done. So I'm getting Light Code system out, and then the Light Code system is going to have that. Literally, it's like here's your stepping stone. Here's what you do step one. Here's what you do step two, step three. And I'm developing a community called Biohackingville, and that's the name of my podcast as well as Biohackingville. But within Biohackingville, I want to have this amazing community of people that are there to help each other. But I want to have resources like anything to do with biohacking, red light therapy or cold plunging or fasting, and all the things that are very important for your health. I want to have just amazing resources that people just go to that's free, right? Just go learn. If you want to learn about fasting, go look. Here's all this information about fasting. And I'm developing this neighborhood of areas of things that he's taught me, right? You want to be an expert in red light therapy. I'm going to have the information for you to go understand it and how to utilize it. And as part of my light code book and process will be those stepping stones. It will be that process. It's like, hey, if you don't want to just start from ground zero, boom, here you go. And start there. If you're already at step 9, great. Start from step 9 and go further. And so that's what we're doing. I'm so excited about what we're putting together just because I believe that's why he has me here on this earth. And it's like I can't live until I get this done, right? It's like, oh my gosh, I got to get this out because I know that's what he built me to do, built me to be. So I'm
So,
excited about it.
so please take this time right now to plug all that stuff and where people can find it, where people can, reach out, where they can follow, where they can tag, what they can search for. Please take this time right now to do that because I absolutely love the mission that you're on. I am fully invested in the mission that you're on and the direction that you're going. I think people need to hear that. And I definitely think that, with the internet the way it is, interneting and pushing all different types of algorithms, we need to try to push these different healthful and healthy
Yeah.
things out here. So please take this time right now to like give us that information.
Sounds good. So right now is exodusstrong.com is going to be the place where everything resides. That's going to be where all of the light code system is going to reside. And the part of that is going to be a connection to Biohackingville. So biohackingville.com will be the community, right? So that doesn't even, as you go there like right today, it doesn't even exist. I mean, it does, it's just not live yet, but it's very, very close to being live. In the next couple of weeks, the exodusstrong.com website will be complete, and the Biohackingville website will be complete, and it all will be there. The book will be done. So just like we're in this period in the next couple of weeks where everything is transitioning and changing. So if you don't see it immediately, great, but it'll be there. And then it's simple to find on social media. It's Rob Rene, and I have a lot of my handles are Rob Rene Health. So I'm just starting to do a daily video. Go to Rob Rene on Facebook and find me. And then I'm literally starting an Instagram account for Rob Rene Health, and you'll find me on Rumble and YouTube as well.
Mr. Rob Rene, it has been absolutely my pleasure. And I want you to know in the bottom of my heart, I mean that. And I'm already racing against you in my mind right now.
I love it. I
That is
love
the ultimate
it.
compliment between runners. We were
There you go.
already
That's
running.
right. I love it.
I welcome you and anything that I can do to help you on your mission. You have me, in your corner to move forward and resources that I can possibly offer. With that being said, I know I've taken up, a lot of your time and thank you for being a guest here. As I don't need to say a guest anymore. You're more of like a household family member now. You're kind of in
Awesome.
here and we can
I
work
love
things
it.
out. But I want to thank you for doing that and hopefully hopefully I can help you with some kind of something down the road to where
Yes,
we
I
can
love what you
move
do,
move your
and I
mission
think
forward.
what you do to help people is amazing, right? Anybody who does what you're doing, like I mentioned, right, the what you do has been vilified, right, for decades, and it's horrible, right? We need to lift you up. You are what you are, how to help people, right? That people need to have Leland, they need to understand that you're what you're doing, and so anything I can do to help you, this is vice versa, right? I want to lift you up because I think what you're doing is absolutely critical to the human race. And so I'm glad that you are doing what you're doing, and I appreciate you doing it.
That means a lot coming from you. Thank you very much. With that being said, stay tuned. Please follow Rob on anything that you find him on. Absolutely amazing work. And we'll keep you guys posted. Hopefully, tag him on some other things.
Every day is a blessing. The time we spend together. All we can do is promote change. 24 hours better.